Morning everybody, it's Peter from Metropix here. We're going to show you how to draw a floor plan this morning on the new version of Metropix. We'll have a quick introduction to Metropix, just give you a very brief overview of the company. We'll then just describe what's required at the property in terms of doing the sketch. That's always important, and then we'll go on to draw a floor plan on the new version. We'll show you how to work with it, how to download it, and we can keep a few questions and answers to the end. In terms of Metropix, we've been going for 13, 14 years now, and in that time thousands of customers have drawn millions of floor plans on the system, and we've got a lot going through the system every day, about 4,000 on a daily basis. We've become a global company, and we've got a strong presence in the USA and Canada now. And the beauty of the system is the ease of use. It's very user-friendly. I think once you get your head around the basics, the rest of it just all falls into place very easily, and you can create a floor plan very quickly. 5-10 minutes is completely realistic. And we put a lot of effort into training our customers as well. There's plenty of free training and options available. I'll run through these very quickly. The main point here is the third one, this one coming up now, the access to 12 million historic floor plans. It's growing quicker than I can keep up with. We'll refer to this in a little while as we go to draw a floor plan, but that's an important point. It's what we call plan bank. You'll hear me refer to that. We mentioned speed. You can draw them quickly. We had a bit of fun a while back with a speed drawing competition. Steph managed to draw a prepared template of a plan that we sent out, a sketch that we sent out, and done a 3-bed semi in 2 minutes 45 seconds with everything in the right place. And anyone can use the system. Graham became a DEA and had never used anything like this system, floor plan service before, and took to it very easily and was creating floor plans really quickly. So in terms of what's required, we go to the property, we produce a simple sketch, hand-drawn sketch layout of the property, and this is the sort of thing that you'll produce. Very simple, very basic. Someone's used a ruler on this, which you probably don't even need to use either. Thing is, what do we measure, what don't we measure? It's very easy to get sidetracked and start measuring too much. We know we've got to get the rooms measured accurately, that's a given. So we can see we've got the living room 23'7" by 11'2". Put the measurements against each wall. There's nothing worse than a square looking room that says 10'6" by 10'1". You don't know which wall's which. This is measured up in feet and inches. You can measure up in metric as per your preference, as you'll see when we go to draw the floor plan. The rest of it though, if you start measuring everything, you'll be there all day. So the term to remember in the back of your mind is visual accuracy. So the sizing and positioning of sinks and doors and toilets and windows, visually correct. If you're in the kitchen and these kitchen units look as though they come 2/3 of the length of the wall, just draw them as you see them. Don't go measuring them. As I say, same with stairs and sinks and toilets. This fireplace, if I came back, might look a little bit skinny and shallow, but if that's what we're drawing at the property, that's what we'll interpret when we're going to draw the floor plan on Metropix. So when we log in, we log into our Metropix account, we get our most recently drawn floor plans listed below. The 20 most recent ones are there. You can search for anything older by the search for more link. So we're going to draw a new floor plan this morning. We've got a link just above there which says new floor plan, so we'll click on this. So we've clicked new floor plan. Step 1 just asks us to enter the address of the property. So for anything better to write, our office are based down in Reading, so we'll put 1 Reading Road. When you put the address there, I'd recommend putting the full address, including the postcode, but it's entirely up to you, but I'll explain why. We put the address there and then we click next. And step 2 will ask us how we want to create the floor plan. We've got 3 options. First option, we're going to click in a few seconds, start drawing now. So we're going to draw a floor plan from scratch, starting with a blank page. Middle option, open existing plan from the search results. Well, this is what relates to the 12 million plans on the system. Over the years, as I say, thousands of customers have drawn millions of floor plans. We're over 12 million now. And it may just be that this 1 Reading Road that we're taking on the market today has been on the market in the past with another agent, and that agent may well have used Metropix to do the floor plan, in which case we'll have one already in Plan Bank, a previously drawn floor plan. And it's simply a case, if you find one that matches as we have here, you simply hover your mouse over the link. When the hand appears, click on the link, and that takes you straight into the floor plan. Third option is to use auto draw. That's where we draw it for you from the sketch that you send in to us. That's an additional charge, so only click that if you authorise or you're happy to pay the extra. So we're going to click start drawing now, this link on the left. We'll click that, and this loads up the page that we call Plan Maker, where we start to create the floor plan. And there we go. So when we start the floor plan, I'll just navigate you around the screen very quickly. You can see we've got an undo and a redo button at the top left there. We've got the floor area calculation. You can see total floor area. As we draw the floor plan, you'll see that will increase. So it calculates the floor area of the property in real time. We've got a disk image here that's for saving as an unfinished plan that we'll come to later. And we've got a tick box which, well, we go to complete the floor plan at the end. We've got a bank of symbols on the left-hand side, and then we've got a floors and the stairs button as well. Under the settings tab, I mentioned you can draw in feet and inches or in metric. So if you click on the settings tab, it's here that you can choose your preference. We've got imperial measurements there or below metric. So just working what you're happy with. When the system does the floor plan at the end, it'll produce the measurements in both. We've got a compass option. So if you want to add a compass to your floor plan, we can click this now. It's not going to hurt. So we've been to our property, and we know that on the finished sketch we want our compass rose with the north arrow pointing to about 8 o'clock. So we click on that and it activates it. If I click on it again, it disables it. You can see it gets greyed out. So we click on the compass, and it's simply a case, put your mouse anywhere on the compass and just drag it to rotate it. So if north was something like 8 o'clock, that's where we'd be. Okay, so we're going to start drawing the floor plan now. We create the floor plan room by room. We get one room to the right shape and size, we add another room and build it up room by room. So we'll do a little 2-bed Victorian mid-terrace this morning. We all know the layout of those. In terms of where we start, we always start on the ground floor and we work up from there. Don't worry if it's like a second floor flat, we can rename the floors or what have you. But we always start on the ground floor. In terms of where you start, as I say, we create the floor plan room by room. We get one room to the right shape and size. So we tend to work diagonally across the floor plan room by room. So we'll start with the lounge at the front of the property. So under add, we've got the room here, little square room. We click on this and now you can see it's activated, it's highlighted orange. We've got a little red dot that follows the mouse around the page. And all you do, pop the dot, it doesn't matter where you start from, you can start anywhere you like, but pop the dot anywhere and then left click and hold the left mouse button down. And as we keep our mouse button held down, we're dragging this dot across to the opposite side and making a rectangular room as we go. So we can release the mouse something like now, and as soon as we do, we can name this room. So as soon as I release that mouse, we get this option comes up. We've got various room types, hallway, reception, kitchen, down through, garage and outbuilding. Just choose the type of room that's going to be first of all. So being a lounge, it's going to be a reception. So we'll click on this and it takes us into the reception room category. We've got various room names where we can choose from sitting room, lounge, dining room, whatever it's going to be. Lounge works. You can type anything in this box. I mean, if you don't want a name, you can select no name. Okay, or if you wanted to type in something different, we can just delete the text and type in what we want to. So we might have a snug or something. So you can type the word in there anywhere. As I say, we've got users all over the world that use Metropix. They type in their own language and the system accepts it. We'll stick with lounge for now. So there we go. It's named a lounge. So once we've done that, just get used to once you've chosen that, there's no way to close this box. You just simply click on the graph paper to get rid of the box. Now we've got this room. It wasn't quite the right size. It was supposed to be 14'9" by 13'2", but it's best just to create the room first of all, and then we can just tweak a little bit. So we can drag this wall out, put your mouse over the wall, left click and hold, and simply drag the wall. Okay, so you can see we can just drag the wall out to as wide or as shallow as we need to. Okay, and so we'll get it to 14'9", so that'll do. And with the adjacent wall, we can increase that depth accordingly to whatever that would have been, so perhaps 13'2". And there we go. So there's our first room created. We're now going to add another room. So we'll put a hallway down the left-hand side. So we're going to add another room. So we'll just click in the box at the top left there. That's activated. We've got our little red dot. And if we're going to put a room to the left-hand side of here, we need to start from a point on the lounge. So this little dot in the bottom corner, start from there. Left click and hold, keep the mouse button held down, drag your dot to the opposite corner. And when we're there, as soon as I release the mouse, we can name it again. So this is going to be our hallway type room, and quite simply choose what you want, but hall works for me, and click that option, click off the box to close it down. We can move the plan around the page quite easily as we need to. As you start working in one direction, you'll run out of space. So just put your mouse on the graph paper, and it's like you're sort of dragging the page around, left click and hold, and it's just like you sort of got a sheet of graph paper that you're just using your mouse to drag around. And now we can add the dining room behind. So add room, that's activated, little red dot, left click and hold, and drag to the opposite corner like so. That works for me. Release the mouse, reception type room, and dining room is fine. Click off the box. This could be a through hallway, it could be front to back stairs on the left wall between the stairs and the dining room to get through to the kitchen. So we can drag this wall up. Although we've created rooms, you can still move walls around afterwards as we've seen, just to fine tune the measurements. And you'll see they snap together as they join up. We drag the plan down the page further and we can pop our kitchen on the back. So add room, little red dot, left click and hold, drag to the opposite corner like so. That's fine. Choose a kitchen, and kitchen defaults into the description, which is great. And there we go. Sometimes you'll have rooms within rooms. You may have a cupboard in the corner of a room or an ensuite in a master bedroom. So if that's the case, we can perhaps have a little understairs cupboard, end of the hallway, top left, door in from the kitchen, little cupboard under the stairs. So add room, and it's only small. We'll just create it in this area here. About 3 foot wide will do. Release the mouse. And we can name this one. This is being a bit of cupboard. It's going to be a storage type room. You'll get used to these options really quickly. Click on storage. And cupboard defaults there as well. It's the most common option there. And then that's fine. There's our cupboard created. Now, not all rooms are going to be nice and rectangular or square. We have irregular shaped rooms. Let's imagine this kitchen's L-shaped. Okay, perhaps this back wall comes out a little bit. And perhaps on the lounge at the front here, we've got a bay window. So we're going to work with making irregular shaped rooms, okay? And if I put my mouse on this wall and drag the whole wall, the whole lot moves, which is no good. Let's just undo that. I don't want the whole wall to move. I just want to move part of this wall out. So I need to set a marker on this wall. And quite simply, all we do, put your mouse on the wall and left click once on that wall. And it opens up a properties box for this external wall. And you can see we've got the option to split the wall. So I'm going to click on this one. And what that's done is put a little white dot at the point where I clicked on the wall. And now only those sections either side will highlight red. And now we can just choose this side of the wall and left click and hold and drag that down or up as the case may be. A 3 foot recess will work. There we go. And we can tidy up this adjacent wall as well as we need to. Okay. So if we were going to make a bay window, we can drag the plan up the page. We'll left click once on the left hand side of the bay about there and split the wall. Do the same on the other side and split the wall. And just put our mouse between those two white dots and drag this piece of wall out. And there we go, there's a 2 foot bay. That's great. Sometimes it's an angled bay where the walls at each side come at an angle. So rather than putting your mouse over the wall, pop your mouse over the dot in the corner. Dot turns red. And we can just drag the wall out, the corner in like so. Do the same on the adjacent wall. Make sure the measurements on both angles are the same. 2 foot 10. We'll know it's symmetrical. So that's a square bay and an angled bay. Another option that we've got is you might take on an old cottage, or you might have one wall in the property that's a bit thicker than the rest. This is something that's new to Metropix, and it gives us the ability to sort of change the wall sizes. If we click on an external wall, you've seen we've got the split wall option. We can also change the wall thickness, and by this little plus or minus arrows, and it's sort of 8 inches, 9 inches, 10 inches. You can see as I'm clicking this box every time, increasing it inch by inch, we're increasing the wall thickness. So we've now got that wall at 1 foot 2. So if it was just that wall that was thicker, we could leave it at that. What you can do if you want to is click on this wall, and we've got this wall thickness at 1.2. We can apply to all underneath. So if I click on this one, it sets every external wall to that size. And if the internal walls were thicker as well, we can click on an internal wall and increase that thickness to whatever it needs to be, up to about 1 foot now. That's fine. And then we can apply to all if we need to. So you get the idea, okay? Let's just restore the default thickness, which is the option just below there. Default thickness, apply to all. And same with this wall here, default thickness and apply to all. So we're back where we were, that's fine. Another option that we've got with on the walls is to add a curved wall. Okay, so if you had a bow window or curved window, we might perhaps have a little bow window on the back there. What we can do, if we've got a curve wall, we need to set the parameters of this curve as to the sort of start and ending point. So first of all, we'll click on the wall and we want to split it just here. And then we'll do the same on the other side, click on the wall and split it. Now put our mouse between those two and we can choose the option to add a curve. Second option down, okay? So we'll add a curve onto this wall and there we go, it's put a curve. And you can manipulate that curve and drag it out or in, as the case may be, as deep or as shallow as it needs to be. So that's how to add a curve on the wall, okay? So we've got the layout done. There's the layout of our property. That's looking good. We're now ready to put a bit of detail onto the floor plan. And I mentioned the bank of symbols. This is just sort of what we call the basic range of symbols. We've got two sections. It says page 1 of 2 and a little arrow to the right. If we click to the right, you can see there's the rest of the symbols there with different sort of arrows and sinks and chimney breast and what have you, fireplaces. We'll come back to the first section. Quite simply, if you want to put a door onto our floor plan, say a front door at the bottom there on the wall I'm highlighting red, choose the symbol that you want, drag and drop, left click and hold, and simply drag it onto your floor plan like so. Okay, so we can repeat that with some other doors. We can pop a few doors onto our floor plan like so. Little cupboard door as well. So you get the idea. Now when you're putting these doors and windows onto the floor plan, let's put a couple of windows onto the bay. What you'll find is they're not always the right size or the right orientation. Perhaps with some of those doors the hinge is on the other side, or perhaps they swing out the other way. That window on the front of the bay is too small. So all we need to do, if say this dining room door, the hinge was on the other side, hover your mouse over the symbol, left click once, and you can see it's opened up a properties box for the door opening width. We can change the size if we need to, but 2 for 6 seems fine, looks visually correct. But you can see we've got to swap the hinge side and swap the opening side. So if I click swap the hinge side, it flips the door the right way. Okay, same with this door. We can click on this door and we can swap the opening side, or we can swap the hinge side. You get the idea. This window, again, what you would do when you're putting a window onto the floor plan, if you need to delete a symbol, you can just click on this and choose delete, because when you put a window on, you're best to just put it onto one side. So pop the window to this side, then click on the symbol, and then we can increase it by these plus or minus buttons, but that's a bit time consuming. We've got these little grey handles, just left click and hold and drag that across. Okay, so if we're going to put a fireplace onto the lounge wall there, we can go to our second bank of symbols. We've got a fireplace symbol here. It tells you what it is. Left click and drag that onto the wall. And if we click on this symbol, you can see these little handles in the corner. We can just make this bigger or smaller, as the case may be, so it's visually the right size. Now, there are a couple of little hints and tricks and shortcuts that we can show you. We may have a fireplace in the dining area that matches the one in the lounge. So rather than sort of have to get a new fireplace symbol from over on the left-hand side and resize it, we can clone this one that we've already got. So it's what we call Ctrl and Drag. We know at the moment if I drag this fireplace, it just moves it along the wall. So we don't want to do that. We'll put that back. We want to copy it. We want to clone it. And this, as I say, it's what we call Control and Drag. In the bottom left of your keyboard, you'll see a Control button. And if you hold, I'm holding that down on the keyboard now, the Ctrl button. And now when I drag this fireplace, it just makes a clone, makes an exact copy. Okay, so that's how to copy symbols. And we can just come back to our first range of symbols and pop a window on this bay. And as I say, just remember to put it one end, click on the symbol, and then we can size it as we need to, like so. There we go. So we're taking shape. We can pop some windows on there. We've got symbols for base units that we can put onto our floor plan, like so. And again, we can click on the symbol and just size these as we need to, and pop another one. You'll see they snap together as they join up. And this one we can just drag along this wall as well, like so. So there we go, we're pretty much done. We can pop a sink and a hob there, and that's the level of detail that we need to go to. Stairs, if we want to put stairs onto our floor plan, we can add them as we go. We've got a stairs section here, so if we click on this, we want to put a set of stairs on our floor plan on the ground floor. Now they're going to start on the left-hand side of the hallway here. We're going to head north, we've got the stairs. When we get to the cupboard, when we get to the first floor, we're going to have a few angled steps and turn around to the right. But for showing them on the ground floor, we just need to show the stairs going up to that cupboard. And we've got various symbols. You see we've got spiral stairs with an L-shaped turn and a flat landing, a stair with an L-shaped turn, and angled steps, a straight flight of stairs. So we could choose these and just pop them on our floor plan, stop them short of the door, click on the symbol, we can drag these down, we can make them as wide or as narrow as we need to, and just set them into the right position, something like so. Those stairs, make them about 3 foot, we can do the same on the first floor. So that's one way of doing it. Let's just delete those, because another option you might prefer is these, cut-off stairs, where we can drag these onto our floor plan, and this just looks as though we've sort of gone to put stairs onto our floor plan, but it's cut them off just before it interferes with the view of that wall, okay? And we'll make these ones 3 foot as well. So there's our ground floor drawn. That's looking good. We're now ready to start the first floor. So we can come out of the stairs section here and we can go to our floor section. Now we've got the option here where we can add a floor above or we can add a floor below. So if we're in a basement, we could pop a floor below and do that. In this instance, we're going to add the first floor. So we'll click to add a floor above. And now we've got a brand new sheet of graph paper. You can see we've got the pastel outline of the floor below in blue. This is there just purely as a guide for you to work to. If it wasn't there, you'd be drawing your first floor and it could be sort of a different size to the ground floor, which would look a bit silly on the finished plan. People would say, well, why is the first floor bigger than the ground floor? So it's purely as a guide for you to work to. So when you're creating the first floor, you work to this footprint of the floor below. So we can start, we can add a room. We can add our bedroom 1 down the bottom here. So we can start about here, left click and hold, and just drag this to the opposite corner like so. And this will be a bedroom, and we've got bedroom numbers 1 to 5. So bedroom 1 works. We've got master bedroom and guest bedroom as well. That works fine. Let's pop bedroom 2 just behind here. That's great. That wasn't quite in the right place, but not a problem. Bedroom 2, we can just drag that wall up, okay? And we can pop a landing here as well. Hallway type room. We'll choose landing from the list. Okay, let's just pop a bathroom on the back very quickly. That's great. That will do. So, and from here we can add the detail on the first floor. Remember your bay window? I said you can left click once and split the wall, which you've seen. And so the other option, you can actually double left click your mouse. But that's just another way of doing it. So you can double left click if you prefer to speed it up a little bit. And this is where we can drag the wall out to make a square bay or an angled bay. Let's undo those two. Or, as you've seen before, we can split the wall and we can create our curved bay, like so, and just move that out as we need to. So we can quickly pop our last few symbols onto our floor plan. We've got the window there, as I say, pop it to one side and just drag it around like so. There we go. If you had a chimney breast, rather than a fireplace, we've got a block symbol, a rectangular block. We can pop this onto the wall, and that will work as a chimney breast rather than a fireplace. And again, we can size this as we need to. And remember, Ctrl and Drag to clone that symbol. There we go, move it along a little bit more. That's great. Back to our basic symbols. And these symbols are all fine. Sometimes you might want a better range of symbols. You can see if we go down at the bottom here, we've got a section called More Symbols. So we can choose this, and you can see it breaks it down by category. So we go to the kitchen, we've got every kitchen related symbol on the system, all sorts of fancy hobs and sinks and boiler symbols and what have you. Various categories, even a section on furniture with all sorts of furniture items as well. We'll just come out of those. We don't need these advanced ones, but that's where they are, okay? That's about it, I think. That's the sort of level of detail that we need to go to. Sometimes you may want to put an external area onto your floor plan. You may have a sort of balcony or a sun deck. Let's just imagine we've got a balcony coming off. It's a bit random coming off the back of the bathroom, but just go along with me for a while. We can pop our symbol on there. We can click on that and size it as we need to on one side or the other. And then to add a balcony, we just simply add a room. So we can create it in this area here like so. And we'll choose this option halfway down, a balcony type room, okay? And this covers things like a balcony, roof garden, sun deck. So you've got a penthouse apartment with a sun terrace, you choose that. You can even draw a garden if you want to. I don't recommend drawing gardens on floor plans. I mean, it's really just for a floor plan of the property, but the option's there if you want to. But balcony works, or we can type our own name in, and that just creates the external area on the back of the property. Okay, and the final thing we need to do now is just to add the stairs on this floor. So we can go to our stair symbol, and I said the stairs come up from the ground floor. When they get over this cupboard, we sort of turn around to the right. So we could have a section of stairs, something like this, stairs with a turn at the top. Drag this onto our floor plan. Now there, clearly, if we come up the stairs, we're going to start walking to a brick wall. So we can just click on the symbol, and we've got the option to flip these. And that turns those the right way. And if we click on the blue button, we can just drag these stairs down as far as we need to. You can even drag them down to that wall if you wanted to, but we can pop those down to about there. And again, we can just size those, make sure they're 3 foot, because they'll be the same on both floors then as well. So that's it. There we go. We've got arrows as well, that we can up and down arrows. So if you want to put a down arrow at the top of the stairs, just to make it clear that this is where the top of the stairs are, we can pop it there. That's pointing the wrong way, so click on the symbol, and we've got this little handle at the top that we can just use and pull that round to the right direction. So if we change floors, we can go down to the ground floor like so, and we can do the same, come out of the floor section, go back into the stairs section, and just pop an arrow at the bottom of the stairs pointing northwards there. Okay, and again, if you want to, we've also got an ordinary arrow. Some people like to put an arrow where the front door is, so we could put an arrow just there showing that's the main entrance to the property. But there's our floor plan drawn. Sometimes you might have an appointment to go to, might want to come back and pick up the work and finish off later. And so you can save it as an unfinished plan. This disk symbol here, I'm going to click on this, and there we go, plan saved successfully. So we can OK that message. We can come out of the floor plan now. We can click the Home tab. Your work will be lost, but we know we've saved it, so we can click Continue. We can come out of the floor plan. We go off, we do our appointment, we come back and log into our Metropix, and we come to our plans page. And at the top under Show Completed Floor Plans, we just need to choose the option to Show Unfinished Floor Plans. And there we go, 7th of March, open floor plan. And in a few seconds, we've loaded straight back up, and we're working again with the floor plan. So we can just change floors, go up to the first floor. We can add another floor if we need to, whatever you need to do. But that's looking good. There's our floor plan drawn. So we're now ready to complete it and get the finished version of the floor plan. And we can now click the tick box to plan complete the floor plan. And I'll talk you through this process. So first thing we want to do is just to check the address, make sure that's spelled correctly. Property description just means, do you want to put any text or wording onto the finished floor plan? Some people will put for illustrative purposes only, not to scale, but there's no need. It comes with a disclaimer anyway that we can amend as we need to anyway. So if you want to put text or wording on the floor plan, that's where you'll do it. The floor area. The system, as you saw, has calculated the floor as we're going through, and it's now given us the total 726 square feet on the first floor, on the ground floor, sorry. And it's got the metric equivalent as well, 67.52 square meters. And the first floor is 620, over 100 square foot less, but that's because it hasn't included the balcony, and the bathroom is a lot smaller than the kitchen. So that's why it records the internal usable floor space within the property. Okay. If you want to enter a figure manually, you can. If you don't like these figures and you perhaps want to put a gross floor area, including the walls and the mortar, and you've got that figure to hand, you can type it into this box in the middle. Or if you don't want the floor area, just simply put a dot into this one and don't show the area. So they're the three options that you've got, okay? What we can do, we can amend some of the measurements here. So this lounge, perhaps it was supposed to be 14 foot 10 wide. Over this measurements box, just left click once, and it opens up a box for the lounge measurements. And it's here that we can change these measurements, okay? So this is 14 foot 9, that's probably correct. But the length, 15 foot 1, that should have been 15 foot 2. So I can just click in this box, delete the 1 and type in a 2. And now that's got my measurements perfectly correct, okay? The other thing we can do, there's a dialog box underneath this one here. And so we might want to say that 15 foot 2 is perhaps maximum into bay. And so you can see the text now appears under there, maximum into bay. And if you wanted to move this over to the right, just so it's under the 15 foot 2 measurement more, you can just put your cursor at the start of the text and just hit your space bar and send it across. You can see at the bottom there, it's moving that text across or under the lounge area. So that's just an option to add text, okay? And click off the box to close that down. So we can do that with any measurement. Perhaps with the bathroom, we click on the bathroom, and we don't want measurements, so we'll choose to show the measurement and turn that off. So the measurements won't be shown on the bathroom. We could do the same with the balcony. We don't really want measurements on the balcony, so we'll turn those measurements off, okay? It hasn't bothered with measurements on the hall and the landing, unless they're of a decent size, but that's a good thing. We don't really want measurements in those anyway. So we can tweak these as we need to, and as I say, the kitchen measurement as well, you might want to measure to that far wall where that 3 foot recess was. You might prefer to say, well, we measure to the nearer wall and put 15 foot 5 will do. There we go. And close off the box. So that's how we can change all the measurements. And what we can also do is you can left click and hold and drag these boxes. So we're able to reposition the text. So we can position them exactly as we need to. Send the bathroom text up. You get the idea. Just move it around as you need to. The other option that we've got that has changed since the old version is the option to add colour. Previously you drew the floor plan first, added colour afterwards as an upgrade. Now we can do it as we're drawing the floor plan. You can see on the left hand side we've got the option to add colour. I'll put a tick that box there, and instantly it's applied colour for us very, very quickly indeed. So that's a big advantage and a real time saver as well. So we've got colour added to our floor plan now. We'll leave it on there. The next option is to click next. We've completed this page, so we'll click next. And it's here also we've got the option to change the layout of the property. So the system decided that portrait looks best. It's lined it up at the top of the floor plan, which doesn't really line up the bottom here. So what we can do is move these floors around. Just left click and hold and drag the floors around as you need to, wherever they need to go. So just lining it up about there makes the floors line up a little bit better. If you prefer, perhaps if your sales particulars require that you put the floor plan into a portrait option, we can click on portrait at the top there. So again, we can choose between these two options as well, okay? But we can just line these floors up a little bit better, like so. We could move the disclaimer up a little bit if we wanted to, and perhaps even move the compass, make best use of the space. The compass could sit better up there. So we can move things around. You can see we've just created a bit more space where we've moved the area of the floor plan in from this outside box. And that's it. So there's our floor plan drawn. We can now click finished. And now it's saving the floor plan to the system. And in a very few seconds, now they're available instantly. How quick is that? And it's got colour on as well. So we're saving ourselves a good couple of minutes with that as well. So we've drawn our floor plan, we're happy with that. We may look at it, or you may send a copy to the seller and they say, oh, I don't like this, can you change this or can you change that? And so you can click open edit. You can go straight back into the floor plan and make further changes. So you can make as many changes as you need to. But if we're happy with this floor plan, all we need to do is to save the floor plan and work with it. We want to upload it to our sales particulars and our website. And we download it from the Metropix website in the same way as you sort of download photos from your camera and save them to your computer as high-res JPEGs. You can see under the download section, resolution is set to high, format set to JPEG. Just simply click the download button and we can save this to our computer. We've got the option to open or to save. You'd probably choose save or save as, and you'd have a property folder that you'd pop all your information for each property into, including the floor plan. But we'll just open this image up, and there's our finished floor plan. And if we zoom in a little bit, let's just make that box bigger. And you can see we've got the floor area at the top, ground floor and first floor. And if we zoom in a little bit, we've got the floor area at the bottom, total floor area 125.18 square feet. And you can see if we zoomed right in on this image, it's filling the screen, but that's still a really good sharp image. So that on any website or sales particulars is going to be a really good image. And you can see these measurements, 15'5" rather than 18'5" has made the change for us, and the 15'2" maximum into bay. And that's it. That's how to draw a floor plan on the new version of Metropix, guys. Thanks very much for your time. I'm sure we'll catch up again soon. Take care. Bye now.